You finish your shift beneath the East River. You climb out breathing, standing, and apparently well. Then your knees give way. A few minutes ago, you were digging beneath a river with thousands of tons of timber and stone above your head. That part did not stop you. The failure begins after the door opens, after the pressure falls, after the dangerous-looking work is over. To understand why, you have to go back down. New York, early 1872. The bridge that will one day connect Manhattan and Brooklyn cannot begin with cables or towers. First, its builders need a foundation deep beneath the river. The water is in the way. So is the mud. Somewhere below both, they hope to find ground strong enough to carry one of the largest bridge towers ever attempted. You are not here to admire the design. You are here to remove whatever lies under it. Your job is simple, only when described from above. Loosen the riverbed, clear the debris, and help an enormous foundation sink evenly. If one section descends faster than another, the structure can tilt. If the cutting edge catches, the work stops. Every shovelful matters because an entire tower will eventually stand on the space you are making. The machine around you is called a pneumatic caisson. Imagine a giant wooden box turned upside down. Its roof is built from massive layers of timber. Its sides descend toward the riverbed, but the bottom remains open. Engines on shore force compressed air into the working chamber, pushing the river water back and creating a pocket in which men can dig. The chamber is only about 9 feet high. Above its roof, workers add stone until the growing weight drives the caisson deeper. Below it, you and the other men cut away the ground that resists that descent. The bridge rises because your room sinks. But you cannot simply open a door and walk inside. The air around you at street level is not under the same pressure as the air below the river. You enter through a shaft and an iron airlock. The outer door closes behind you. The lock tender admits compressed air. Only after the pressure inside the lock matches the pressure in the working chamber can the inner door open. For a few moments, the small metal room is the only thing separating two different atmospheres. The lock tender controls that boundary. A mistake here does not merely delay the shift. If both sides are exposed at the wrong time, the compressed air keeping water out of the caisson can escape. The doors, valves, compressors, and the person operating them are all part of the same life support system. Then the inner door opens, and you enter the chamber. The work is not one dramatic act. It is repetition under pressure. One gang loosens mud and sand near the cutting edge. Harder layers must be drilled, broken, or cut around obstructions. Men load the spoil so it can be hauled away through the shafts. Others watch the floor and the edges, looking for the section that must be cleared next. Above you, masonry crews keep adding weight. Beside you, other gangs keep the excavation moving. Above the river, engines keep the air moving. Your shovel is only one link in a chain that runs from the bottom of the caisson to the surface. If any part of that chain stops, the foundation stops with it. The room feels less like a construction site than a sealed industrial basement buried in wet earth. The air is saturated with moisture. Clothes become soaked. Gas flames provide light, but they also foul the chamber with smoke and soot. Men can leave coughing black material from their lungs, a problem caused by the air and the lighting, not by the sickness that waits after decompression. Pressure creates stranger changes. A doctor studying the workers records large changes in pulse, while some men report little obvious sensation. The body can be under unusual strain without giving a clear warning. As the caisson sinks, the pressure needed to keep the river out rises with it, from roughly 18 pounds above normal air pressure toward twice that amount. And that may be the most deceptive part of the chamber. You can still work. You dig. You lift. You wait for the next section. 2 hours pass, perhaps 4. Nothing in the rhythm of the task tells you that the most dangerous moment may come after you put the tools down. When the watch ends, you return to the airlock. Now the process runs in reverse. The inner door closes. The lock tender releases pressure over several minutes, sometimes around 7, sometimes closer to 15, until the outer side can be opened. This is not yet the surface. On the Manhattan caisson, the lock is low in the shaft, so you may still have a long climb after leaving it. An elevator will later reduce that effort. For now, you emerge from the lock, begin moving upward, and believe the shift is behind you. Then pain arrives. For one man, it may strike the legs or joints with enough force to stop him walking. Another may become dizzy, weak, or numb. Some vomit, some lose control of their limbs. In the worst attacks, breathing fails, paralysis spreads, or a man collapses before he reaches home. The records kept by the bridge physician, Andrew H. Smith, repeat this pattern. A worker performs his job under pressure, leaves the caisson, and becomes ill afterward. Between January 25th and May 31st of 1872, Smith records 110 cases serious enough to require treatment. 3 are fatal. Those are treatment cases within his recorded period, not a total death count for the entire bridge project. But they are enough to reveal the shape of the danger. The chamber does not always injure you where the chamber can be seen. It can send the injury out with you. A temporary hospital stands in the construction yard, close enough to receive men who can still reach it. Severe cases may be sent home or to public hospitals. Smith tries the treatments available to a 19th century physician. But the disease is new, inconsistent, and poorly understood. What helps one man may do little for another. Then he notices something extraordinary. Men in pain sometimes improve when they return to the compressed air. The pressure that seemed connected to the illness can also relieve it when restored. Smith proposes an above-ground chamber that could repressurize a patient and then return him more slowly to normal air. The idea points toward modern recompression treatment. On this bridge, however, it remains more proposal than dependable rescue. The men still enter a dangerous system faster than medicine can learn how to protect them from it. Today, the basic mechanism is clearer. Under compressed air, more nitrogen from each breath dissolves into the body's tissues. While the pressure remains high, that gas can stay dissolved. But if the surrounding pressure falls faster than the body can clear the extra nitrogen through the lungs, bubbles can form inside tissues and circulation. Where those bubbles form helps determine what happens next. They can produce severe pain in joints and muscles. They can interfere with the spinal cord and weaken or paralyze the legs. They can affect the lungs or brain. There may be no cut, no falling stone, and no visible wound. Only a body that worked at one pressure and was returned too quickly to another. The blood is not boiling. The body is not carrying the caisson's pressure to the surface. The injury comes from the pressure change and the gas release during that change. Inside the chamber, high pressure helps keep the nitrogen dissolved. Outside it, the consequences can suddenly become visible. But you do not have that explanation in 1872. You have rules assembled from observation and loss. Workers are told to eat before entering. The time spent in the lock is adjusted. As the shaft grows deeper, an elevator is added so exhausted men no longer have to climb the full distance after decompression. Each change acknowledges part of the problem, but none removes the need to go back under pressure. The workers do resist. Irish immigrant laborers are among the men who strike over pay and conditions during the caisson work. Their action exposes something the finished bridge can hide. This engineering achievement depends on people negotiating how much risk their labor is worth. More pay cannot make compressed air harmless. A faster lockout can return a crew to the surface sooner, but it may make the pressure change more dangerous. A slower lockout may protect the body better, but it delays the next movement of men and material. Time, money, depth, and health are all being measured in the same shaft. And the shaft keeps getting deeper. As the Manhattan caisson descends, the pressure rises and serious illness becomes harder to ignore. Washington Roebling, the bridge's chief engineer, also becomes ill after time in compressed air. His suffering does not make the workers' cases secondary. It proves that the pressure does not respect rank. Even if rank changes what happens to a person afterward, the hoped-for bedrock remains farther below. At about 78.5 feet beneath high water, the caisson rests on a dense layer of hardpack, material judged strong enough to carry the tower. Going deeper would mean more pressure, more difficulty, and more danger. The excavation stops before the deeper bedrock is reached. Then the working chamber is filled with concrete. The place where men dug, coughed, collapsed, and returned for another watch disappears inside the structure. The timber caisson is not hauled back to the surface. It becomes part of the foundation, sealed beneath the tower it helped raise. Years later, people will look upward. They will see stone arches, cables, and a roadway suspended across the river. The most dangerous room in the story will be invisible. Your shift appeared to end when the outer lock door opened. For some men, that was the moment the real injury began. The caisson becomes the bridge's foundation. The men who dug it learn the harder truth. Getting out of a dangerous place is not always the same as leaving the danger behind.